Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi zidni ilma, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So the topic that we are going to be doing today is production possibility curve. And in production possibility curve, we will be looking at specifically the diagrams and the MCQs part. All right. So let's start with question number one. In question one, it says an economy is producing at X. If you look at point X, this is point X. All right. And at point X, it is producing 200 units of food and 75 units of machine. Also, Adil, I would like your active participation so that if you have any questions, chances are that the audience that might be viewing this video might also have that question, same question. So please do feel free to ask. Now it says,
Alright.
what is the opportunity cost of choosing to produce at Y? Opportunity cost is what? Your next best alternative foregone. For example, if you have you have $1,000, you can either buy iPhone or Samsung. If you buy iPhone, Samsung
Yes.
is your opportunity cost. So now
B
we have
would be
moved.
the answer.
Yes, B is the answer.
Yep.
Alright, so let us discuss. So you have moved on to Y. If you're moving on to Y, you're producing more of machines, but you're producing less of food. How much less of food are you producing? 50. That is your answer. B is the correct answer since you're letting go or foregoing 50 units of food produced. So that's why this is your opportunity cost. So well done. Fair enough. Now let's move on to question number two. So now if you look at question number 2 and 3, if I'm not wrong, are the same. So let's look at question 3 since the whole question is coming on the same page. So if we look at question number 3, it says the diagram shows the choices for an individual between leisure and earnings. Basically, leisure is your free time, the time at which you're not doing anything, sleeping, eating food, binge watching, whatever you may call it, playing sport. And earning is while you're working, tuck, 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 tuck on keyboard, tish, tish, tish. Anyways, what is the opportunity cost of cost to the individual of earning extra when moving from position X to Y? So when you were in position X, right, you were like you had 12 hours of leisure per day and you were earning $60. But when you move on to position Y, now you're working, you have only 8 hours of leisure per day, right? You only have 8 hours of leisure per day. So before you used to get 12 hours of free time, now you're getting 8 hours of free time. So what's your opportunity cost? What are you
4
foregoing
hours.
or giving up to earn more money?
4 hours.
Exactly, to earn more buck, you're giving up your leisure time. I think 4 hours is not,
Yes.
4 hours is a lot to just earn $20. But depends how much you earn. Anyways, any confusion so far?
Not really.
Not really perfect. Not really like in absolute no confusion or slightly confused.
No. But sir, these questions are nothing compared to what comes in the past paper.
Alright, these are also part of the past paper. Don't worry, we'll build on. We'll do the easy. The
Alright.
hard questions will also come. Alright, so we'll build on. And the reason why you are finding these easy is because we are doing a topic. If you were to, do a yearly past paper, all topics would be mixed. You will find it difficult. But topical past papers, you're going in a flow. Anyways, we will do all the major topics, inshallah, then we'll move on with the difficult ones. So it's that a
Alright.
country is producing at point X. So this is the point X. Point X is on the PPC line. Point X is on the PPC line. Now do note that point A, point X, point D, all three of them are on the PPC line. This means what? That all the points are efficient. Whenever you are on the PPC line, all the points are efficient. Alright. So a country is producing at point X on its production possibility curve, which shows it can allocate its resources between capital goods and consumer goods. A period of recession then causes some of its factories to close, which point could represent new position. Now look, point A, point X, point D all represent efficient points. Why? Because you are on your PPC. Point B means that you're beyond your efficient point. You are producing beyond your capability. How can you do that? When you are, let's say, importing goods. Point C represents that you are being inefficient, right? Because you are below your PPC curve, below your efficiency point. This may be due to recession. So the answer is D. Any confusion so far?
I have a question, sir.
Please ask.
So let's say that this PPC curve, let's say that the PPC is at X. Now we're producing capital goods and consumer goods at the maximum efficiency level whereby we could produce both two goods. Now, if, for example, a natural disaster like a hurricane or a tsunami were to hit and the factories were to get destroyed themselves, or the mines for production of these goods were to be destroyed, or the fields, whatnot, like the production
In short, you're saying
places
that
were
your
to.
overall resources have been decreased, if I'm not wrong. That's your point?
No, no, not really. Your factories or the machines to produce your goods and services have been destroyed. Now,
Yeah.
would the PPC, would you be inefficiently producing goods, or would the
Yeah.
PPC itself, would your capacity to produce goods and services, would it decrease
Now
itself?
look, when your resources, your machineries have been destroyed, your factories have been destroyed, this indicates what? That your overall resources have decreased. When I said, no, your question, basically your question is saying that your overall resources have decreased. This can be due to war, this can be due to natural disaster or anything like that. So when your overall resources have decreased, it doesn't mean that you're inefficient. It means that your overall productive capacity has decreased altogether. You cannot now produce the same level of output because you don't have those resources. So in such cases, your PPC curve will shift to the left. All right,
I
because
see.
now this is your efficient point. This shift is every point on this line. Let's say A, B, C would now be efficient. Efficiency means
All right.
what? You're using all your resources efficiently. You're using all your available resources. You're
See,
right.
one more question, sir. Yes, one more question. Due to COVID, gaming companies, or computer hardware companies decided to cut down, lay off staff, and cut down producing graphic cards. And due to that, at that time, the demand for graphic cards was low at that time, but the prices spiked and everything. But when the pandemic, well, not the pandemic, when the country started lifting lockdowns and everything around the world, basically, these manufacturers couldn't keep up with the increased supply. So would this be a example of market failure, and the PPC being inefficient for them?
Not necessarily that the PPC is inefficient. For PPC to be inefficient, it is that you're not using all your resources efficiently. So it depends. This is a very dynamic approach, right? For this, we need to go in depth, right? So not necessarily. That's my take on this at the moment. But yeah, market
Not
failure
necessarily.
can exist. So, like for example,
All right.
pandemic may altogether, since your industries have been shutting down, right? Chances are in some cases you might not have the resources to produce. So now we are talking it not only talking about it from the economic perspective, we are talking about from the industrial perspective as well. Each industry, right? So for example, if you have a pharmaceutical industry and the supply, there are not enough resources, all right, or maybe you're not using all your resources efficiently to provide raw materials for that particular industry, then the PP then it's that you don't have the resources, so PPC is going back. It's not like you are not using the resources, you don't have the resources.
All right, but sure, in most of the technology market, smartphones or computers, a computer manufacturer, smartphone manufacturer, or let's say that let me think. Well, these two are the main, fields in computer and technology and everything. So, these fields have a huge barrier to entry, and a lot of firms which exist have a monopoly, a really a huge monopoly over the market. Like, let's say that in the computers field, basically, there's this company called Razer. You've heard of them, right?
Yes.
Yes. Now, Razer, I'm not really sure if they hold a monopoly, But in terms of the gaming market, everyone either prefers Razer or Logitech mouses, like mouse, and that goes with the handrest as well. Sometimes, they might also purchase other accessories like headphones, and that's the thing. So basically, like, if there's a monopoly existing, and since it's a monopoly, it won't, like, go down that easily in terms of recession or a pandemic or something like that.
Not
So if they
necessarily.
just
You're saying that that the pandemic or recession might not affect these. This is not the case. Depends on the severity of whatever issue or the crisis are at that point in time. So it can be that your entire industry might shut down as well. So that's not necessarily the case. That even if you are a monopoly, there are chances a monopoly can also get affected. Big monopolies might also collapse given the fact
I see.
that you because look the priorities of people change during time of pandemic. There was such people were getting laid off and work was closed and each and everything, so I don't think people would prioritize gaming headset over food or accommodation or shelter.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the
that
thing.
is true. That is true. But, like, in terms of the pandemic, sir, actually the opposite happened, since demand for, like, gaming accessories
Now
and
it
this
depends
type of
on
stuff
which
increased
country
since
you're talking
people.
about. This also
Yeah,
depends from country to country. So now, for example, if you talk about a developed nation, of course they might, or first of all, there is government welfare we are talking about over here. Then there are savings of the individuals. All right. So they might not have that. At the end of the day, it all depends on the mindset. So they might not have such level of fear. All right. So if they don't have such fear, of course they can spend the money. During pandemic, online sales boomed. Now but it depends now. So
yeah.
when you are talking about such a case, you have to look into the scenario. You need to carry out an in-depth analysis. So, anyways, now let's come back to the topic. How does a production possibility curve show that scarcity or scarcity exists? Now, when we talk about production possibility curve, A says that it shows that a rise in demand for one product increases its price. No, nowhere in the production possibility curve price is mentioned. Then it says it shows that as more resources are used to produce a product, its prices rise. Again, no mention of price. It shows that any point outside the production possibility curve, economy is wasting resources. That's not the point at all. If you are producing beyond your PPC, outside the PPC, it means you're producing beyond your available resources. So that's not true. It shows that there is a limit the quantity products that can be produced with existing resources and technology. That is true. In PPC, you have two goods, consumer or capital, or good A or good B, or wheat or rice. So you have to basically make a choice between two goods. When you increase the production of one commodity or good, you decrease of another. So if you look at this question, if you produce at point A, you're producing more capital goods and less consumer goods. But if you produce at point D, you're producing less capital goods and more consumer goods. So the answer is D. Any confusion?
No, sir.
Perfect.
So is it fine if I just use the restroom real quick?
All right, please come back at your earliest. Moving on to question number 6, it says, how is an immediate effect of increase in unemployment illustrated on the production possibility curve diagram? Look, if there is increase in unemployment, it's not like as if your resources have decreased. Your resources are still the same. You are just not using them efficiently. So you will come over here. If you were at point A, B, C, so you will fall back to this point D. So it says a movement of the production possibility curve. There is no movement of the production possibility curve closer to the curve. It says a movement of the production point further inside the curve. That is true. If you look at it, this point has gone further inside the curve. There are no shifts, first of all, and the movement of the production possibility curve is not closer to the curve, rather, it is further inside the curve. So, any confusions?
Not really.
Now, let's move on to question number 7. Question number 7, it says that the diagram shows two production possibility curves for an economy. So, you have this production possibility curve, and then you have another production possibility curve. All right, fair enough. What could have caused the change in the economy's production possibility curve from XX to YY. Basically, your production possibility curve has shifted towards the left. So, risk a decrease in price level? No. Think
See,
about
see,
it.
see.
Exactly. Resource. If there is a major earthquake, your resources would decrease.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yes, should we continue to another topic, sir? Or
All
should
right.
we
So, are
put
you
this?
satisfied with PPC topic now?
Um, to be honest, not that much since these questions weren't that hard.
All right. So let's do some more questions. Do question number 10.
10. What economic concept must be at work when there is movement by a country along its production possibility curve? Economies of scale, equilibrium, price, maximum profit, opportunity cost. D, sir.
Good job. And do
Thank you.
question number 12.
Okay, the diagram shows a production possibility curve for maize and cotton. Bad weather causes poor harvest for both crops. Which movement could be used to represent the change? Represent this change. All right. So, crops. Sir, the answer is B, Q to R.
Good job. All right. So inshallah, we will be moving on to the difficult questions as well. Now let's start a new topic for the viewers on YouTube. If I get views, that is, I'm closing the video, and we will have another session of part 2 as well of the PPC curve.